The curtain swayed slightly when I leaned closer, just enough for me to see inside. Her small frame was curled up on the couch, trembling. He towered over her, his voice sharp, his hand raised. And in that instant, I understood the red circles on the calendar. She hadn't wanted to tell me, but she didn't have to. I remember the first time I met him, the man who would marry my daughter. He smiled too easily, laughed too loud. But he looked at her with a hunger that young love mistakes for devotion. I wanted to believe he was a good man. For her sake, I forced myself to. Years passed. My daughter died young. My granddaughter stayed with him. And I convinced myself that maybe, just maybe, he had softened, become better. I was wrong. The signs began slowly. A bruise, she said, was from soccer practice. A silence when I asked her about school. The way she froze when his car pulled into the driveway. And then that calendar. Red circles scattered like blood drops. Dates she dreaded. Patterns she couldn't explain aloud. She whispered, "I don't like those days." I didn't press. I simply nodded, kissed her forehead, and left. But I marked those days too. That night, I sat at my desk with the kind of clarity I hadn't felt in years. Grief had dulled me once. Age had slowed me. But betrayal? Betrayal sharpened everything. I did not shout. I did not confront him. I planned. Every predator has a rhythm. He thought no one was watching. No one would dare oppose him. He was wrong. The first step was simple. I visited her school, spoke to her teachers, quietly asked questions. She was slipping in grades, avoiding friends, sitting alone at lunch. Each answer was another nail in his coffin. The second step, I befriended the neighbors. Casual chats over the fence, a smile, a question here and there. They had heard things. Yelling at night, a crash, crying. They had looked away. Most people do. But now I knew. The third step, evidence. I bought a small camera, placed it in the teddy bear I brought her. She hugged it, thanked me. She didn't know it was her shield. What it captured would haunt me forever, but it would also save her. The footage was worse than I feared. His rages, his threats, his hand across her face. But I didn't crumble. I cataloged every file, every timestamp. I built a fortress of proof. And then came the fourth step, the quiet one. I visited an old friend, retired police, still with connections. I handed him a drive. I said nothing more than, "Hold this for me, for when I call." He nodded. He saw the steel in my eyes. The day of reckoning came on another red circle evening. I arrived early, parked far enough away, watched through the curtain as his anger boiled. That's when I walked to the door and knocked. He opened it, sneer already on his lips. "Forgotten your place, old man," he spat. I didn't answer. I stepped inside. My granddaughter's eyes widened, shimmering with both fear and hope. I kept mine steady. "Go to your room," I told her softly. She obeyed without hesitation. He laughed. "You think you can stop me?" "I already have," I said. The silence stretched, heavy, before I spoke again. "I know about the bruises, the calendar, the things you do when you think no one sees." His face drained. I placed my phone on the table, pressed play. The living room filled with his own voice, shouting, threatening, hitting. Every second was a dagger turned back on him. He lunged, but I was ready. Age slows the body, not the mind. I had positioned myself by the counter, where the heavy skillet waited. When he came close, I lifted it, not to strike, but to block. The thud echoed, his breath knocked out. He stumbled back. By the time he regained balance, the police lights were flashing through the window. My call had been made before I ever knocked on that door. They dragged him out in handcuffs, shouting curses that meant nothing now. My granddaughter clung to me, whispering, "Is it over?" "Yes," I said. My voice did not shake. I stayed with her that night, holding her until she slept. The house was quiet for the first time in years. Now, when I sit alone, I replay it all. The calendar, the fear, the silence I once mistook for peace. I think of how close I came to losing her, how close she came to breaking. Revenge isn't fire, it isn't rage. It's patience, it's precision. It's making sure the monster doesn't just fall, but falls in front of everyone, with no chance to rise again. He thought I was just an old man, but old men carry memories, and memories carry teeth. So when the curtain swayed that night and I saw him for what he truly was, I didn't panic. I simply began the ending he had written for himself, and I finished it.